Welcome to In Our Words, a weekly segment of LMP's opinion section that highlights some of the week's most thought-provoking issues. The following are the opinions of the LMP editorial board and not the news department. Large protests against the election of Donald Trump were held last week in major cities, including New York and Philadelphia, and across the country. The protests were mostly peaceful, except in Portland, Oregon, where dozens were arrested. At some point, we are going to need to move on from the divisiveness and the anger of these past 24 months or so and find a way to come together as Americans. Our republic doesn't require us to ignore our political differences. It doesn't require us to agree with each other all of the time on matters of policy. But we are required to acknowledge our common humanity and to be able to talk to one another, to be willing to work with each other for the good of the country we love, and to look out for each other when harm threatens any one or any group of us. We may not be able to paper over our differences, and we probably shouldn't try, but we can respect one another's views and try to see the good in one another. We can decide to be neighbors, again, and to love our neighbors as ourselves, even when we find them hard to love, because we're Americans and we're all in this together. Lancaster City Council is considering an ordinance that would ban aggressive panhandling. The proposal is modeled after a similar Harrisburg ordinance in place since 2004. It would bar panhandlers from being intimidating or abusive, from continuing to beg after someone has refused, from touching people, and from begging from someone who's in a car or waiting in line. It's difficult to strike a balance between compassion and practicality, to walk the line between desire to help someone in need and doing what's in the best interest of the community. City merchants have petitioned the city to do something about panhandling. They say it makes customers uncomfortable and uneasy and chases away business. They're right. And giving money, though it may seem like the right thing to do at the time, usually doesn't help. Panhandling in Lancaster, particularly on West King Street, is a real problem. Business owners who have invested their lives and money in the downtown must have the opportunity to run their businesses with as little interference as possible. At the same time, panhandlers do have rights that must be protected. We believe the proposal before City Council right now strikes the right chord, and we urge Council to adopt the ordinance. The city has no choice but to take a hard line on aggressive panhandling. It's bad for business, but that doesn't mean our collective sense of compassion has to be kicked to the curb. Finally, there you were on Election Day, pen in hand, shading your boxes on your paper ballot. You had waited an hour, perhaps more, to have a say in the futures of both the Commonwealth and the Republic. But just when you thought you were finished executing your civic duty and about to commit Decision 2016 to history, you came upon this question: shall the Pennsylvania Constitution be amended to require that justices of the Supreme Court, judges, and magisterial district judges be retired on the last day of the calendar year in which they attain the age of 75 years? But what the ballot question didn't tell you is that the current age for retirement of judges is 70. Congratulations, judges. Pennsylvania voters just bought you another 5 years of healthy salaries and pension contributions, and many of them didn't even know it. The ballot question was finagled by the legislature to make it appear that by voting yes, you were restricting rather than extending years of service. And if that's what you thought, you were duped. The retirement question, at least in its final form, should never have been on the ballot. This was a parlor trick, the legislative version of three-card Monte, cleverly designed to achieve a desired result. Mission accomplished. And once again, Pennsylvania voters are left wondering where the money went. That'll do it for In Our Words this week. If you have an opinion you would like to share with us, you can email us at lancasterletters@lmpnews.com. You can also see what we think in the opinion section at lancasteronline.com. I'm Rich Maneri. See you next time.